here to bring together professionals shaping the future of sustainable development across arid regions. Today's session continues our exploration of how design leadership, coordination, and technical precision contribute to resilient urban growth in the Middle East. Our guest, Nifras Khan, a REBA International Associate AIA, brings strong expertise in design management, BIM modeling, and multidisciplinary project coordination across large scale, high impact developments in the region. He has contributed to landmark projects including Al Maktoum International Airport, the Guggenheim Museum Abu Dhabi, and Diriyah Gate development, all of which represent transformative infrastructure and cultural initiatives shaping the future of the GCC. Most recently, Nifras further strengthened his leadership and delivery capabilities through advanced studies in construction project management at Columbia University, reinforcing his ability to align design vision with execution strategy. Today, he will share insights into managing complex design environments in arid regions where sustainability, coordination, BIM integration, and delivery discipline must operate seamlessly together. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Nifras Khan.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Udit, for your kind introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here with Green Grid Design and Building Energy India. I'm a Nifras Khan, an architect working in design technology and BIM leadership over a past decade. And I have had a privilege collaboration with large scale projects across the Middle East. So I'm looking forward this conversation today with how the design technology and BIM leadership will help, especially the arid region. So I'm a very it's very great to be here as a part of your conversation in the webinar. So let's we jump before we begin. Like I don't want to make this like a one-way presentation. So I love to keep this conversation like that. So if anything, feel free jump in any time, Udit. Okay.
All
So
right,
can we start?
let's begin.
Yeah. Okay. You can see my screen, right?
I think it's still loading.
Okay.
Right, I think our screen is now visible.
Yeah, sure. Cool. So let me start with a simple thought. I think desert has never lacked ambition, but what challenges is on a delivery, because uh, if you are working in some harsh climate like this, you have to consider when you are making us a big scale projects, you should consider that climate, culture, and that constructability, because everyone have a vision. But if you are turning to the vision into the reality, sometimes you have to identify it yearly for these things. If it's not, it will be a nightmare for the project and that culture as well. So about me, I have been fortunate with working on projects like Guggenheim Museum and Kidia Performing Arts Center. It's not like only a large scale projects. It's like culturally a sensitive project and technically strong. So if in this case, what I did in this projects, like most of the part as a digital deliver for major projects like Guggenheim and Kiria, I'm resolving like a complex designs, because everyone have a vision, but if you are turning to the reality, you can. I believe like only the digital workflows can be possible for these things. So I have some quite experience in UAE and Saudi Arabia because both are very harsh climate, but almost we succeed a lot of projects in that UAE and Saudi Arabia. So here is the portion like a vision, because every Gulf project started with a great vision, like Saudi Vision 2030 projects, even including Dubai have a lot of projects currently going on. And but they have some iconic architecture you want to start it. We have to consider some of the aspects as a vision, because the one of the major things in like especially in Gulf, they are focusing on the sustainability environment, because whatever the project you are making, it should be meet the sustainability goal. Without sustainability, uh, it's like we can add it on later. It should be a foundation of every project. And the second thing is immense scale, because every projects, those are large scale projects. Even the Burj Khalifa, they have a Al Arab, and even now we are working on Guggenheim Museum. So those are the big massive projects. So when you are making these designs, you have to consider these aspects as well. And that last one and the most important one is the cultural significance, because uh, every geographical locations have a different cultural and tradition. So when you are making a design, you have to integrate it with the cultural. So these are the important vision when you are making. But the ground reality, it's little bit harsh, because what happened when you are making those iconic architecture, especially the climate was very harsh. So how to make it those like buildings into the harsh climate, which is very challenging. And the second thing is complexity of the design, because every projects have a uh, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah. Sure, sure. So the complexity of the design is also one of the major aspect, because every vision have a like every visions you can whatever the concept you want, you can make it. But if it will be going into the constructability, that is the most challenge will be happen. And the third thing is thousands of stakeholders will involve in this project, because architecture have a vision, but if you are translating into the people, then only it will be the possible. Because sometimes what happen, it can be diluted within the suppliers and contractors. So that reality, it's little bit harsh when the 1,000 peoples are working in the same projects. And the last one is the like a timeline and the budget, because in the Vision 2030, it's not only a single projects we are working. We have a bunch of projects like lined up for Vision 2030. So they already allocated some of the budget for each projects, and that the goal is within a 2030 you have to finish maximum like a 4 years or something will be pending. So whatever that you are making, it should be fit in within the timeline and the cost control. I think these are the like a parallel world will be there. So our goal is you have to connect the bridge between the visions and the reality. That's the area like digital leadership is coming. So our workflow is like make our vision turn into the reality. So whatever that the aspects will be there in the vision, it should be turning into the reality. So that is the major impact in that conversation. The second thing is integrated digital delivery, because that is the most important and like currently most hot topic for all the country, because currently everyone is adapting that integrated digital delivery on their projects. Because this integrated digital delivery, it's not only for the coordination, it's like you have to identify like what are the sustainable narratives, what is the materials you have to use it for, what is the budget, and what is the timeline. If you are discussed these things are yearly, you have to make it your vision into the reality. So that is why we are creating a digital hub model in real time collaborations. For example, that peoples who are worked in London as a conceptual designer, they can easily collaborate with the Saudi, the structural engineers, because everyone working together, then only the possibility will come to meet our goals. So I believe digital workflows is like reducing our rework, and it's reduced the misinterpretations as well. So I hope this digital workflows will be not only working into the uh, only for the construction. After the constructions also we can use it for operation and maintenance purpose as well. The third thing is in my project, like one of the project I want to demonstrate, that is the Guggenheim Museum, because you can see the projects here. It's like most complex city projects. You can feel it like uh, it's it's like a breathtaking vision, because if you are seeing those renders, you can't believe how we can achieve these things. But currently, if you are going to Shadiyat Island, that building is already built, like 80 to 90 percentage of work is done. Because how it's possible? Because of the digital workflows, we aligned everything earlier with the peoples. What are the things should be coming into the particular museums? What are the requirements? We already fulfilled with the contractors and suppliers. They understand because we already translated to the peoples. So that is why it's possible now. And I think in the end of the year 2026, that Guggenheim Museum will open soon. So this is the Guggenheim Museum. Before we constructed, what we discussed in the digital workflows, the one of the main aspect is the sustainability, especially in harsh climate. When you are applying any materials, especially in facade, you have to check some life cycle assessment in that particular museums. Not only the museums, every cultural project, you have to focus on the sustainable narrativity. As I earlier mentioned, this is not an add-on for every project. It's like a foundation in these projects. So you have to focus on what are the material you are going to apply in this museum, because it's not a short-term asset, it's like a generational legacy. So what kind of material you are going to apply, you should consider that embodied carbon, and how it can be sustainable for a long time, and what is the system, how the system will work for the long time, and what is the thermal insulation will be applicable in here in these projects. So you can see the digital coordination, how it's integrated together in aligned with constructability. Because before we already make some digital models in the Guggenheim Museum, so that is why we can easily fit into the in the construction site. So one of the major things what we faced in this project, uh, like a structural steels and the facade, because I was worked in as a facade coordinator in this project. uh, the structural steel and that we have to set the tolerance between the main steel, secondary steel, and facade will come. So we can if you are going with the traditional method, it will take a month and month of time to create the drawings. And even if you see the site, sometimes it will not come as what we expect. So the digital workflows came here to make some coordination with other stakeholders in a real time collaborations in the same model. Then we can identify the clashes early to rectify the issues. So that is why here what happened, we are creating a 5,000 unique panels in this facade. So we are collaborating with the peoples in the Guggenheim Museum, especially the secondary steels and main steel structural engineers. We are combined together and make our models, put it in the class detections tool to find out like a 4,000 classes is happen. and 95% classes are resolved before earlier. So that is why in the RFI stage, like reduce a lot of RFIs in the construction. So we can easily build that when we are not facing any challenges when we are executed in the construction stage. The second thing I want to talk about the material, because especially we are using a GRC and precast cladding for each every facade. Like it's not only for a aesthetic purpose. It's like a thermal insulation device, because in this harsh climate, it's acting as a passive cooling strategies, and it will be useful for a long time purpose. So that is why we selecting the material as a GRC and precast. Not only for this project, even if you are going the Natural History Museum and Zayed National Museum, most of the facades are we are making from GRC and precast, because it's like a sustainability material, and we can use it for a long term purpose. So see, what we did before into the before the site executions, we make some mock-ups for each and every month. Like because if you are fixing one material uh, during the very harsh climate, uh, that UV exposures will be high, especially in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. So uh, sometimes what happen, the color will be changed over the long run. So that is why we create some mock-ups for in the site to test it out. So we can identify it earlier, like the material will be expand or not, what is the thermal insulation will applicable in this particular material, and we can identify it earlier with the simple mock-ups. Then it will not create a biggest problems in the later stages. The second project I want to demonstrate, this is a very important project for me, because what happened, this project is situated in Ireland, in Red Sea, because it's like a resort come like a resort come hotel. It's located in Sura Island. Because what happened, this project is one of the complexity is the environment. You can see it's located in the sea. So when we constructed this project, we are considered more awareness for the ecological, because there are a lot of sustainable, like a lot of sea creatures living in this Red Sea. So when we making a design, it shouldn't affect them. So that is why we are very awareness of this particular project. When we constructed, we make some lot of restriction, and whatever the materials, everything should be sustainable. So that is why this projects got more success. You can see this like a shape of this building. It's literally a wooden truss to make this building. Not only one building, for all building, it's like we are using some wooden truss with tied up with a like a rope system. Because you can see it in here, there are a lot of ropes we using for this particular projects. We are not using any single steel for this. We consider when we make a when we started to make these models, we got to know the steel will be not working for this particularly a coastal sensitivity area. It will automatically erosion will happen later on. So when we make the roof, we are using with wooden truss and roping system to make it this structure more possible. Here how the digital workflow will happen, especially it's helping for make us like a interference check, and how that complex geometry will work in that particular area. So we can identify these things are early. So that is why this project went more successful. You can see it in here, the interior part of this portion. I want to elaborate this particularly in interior, what kind of material we applied. Most of the things are locally available material, especially the flooring area. We used some limestone, and a lot of the wall area we used for blue, like a blue marble, which is easily available inside. Because when we make a project, this project is, we consider, I already mentioned, we followed the some strictly policies we implemented in these projects. We are not allowed to make some material to came from outside of this region. So whatever we have these materials in this inside the region to make this like make these buildings more elegant and beautiful as well. You can see the render. Yeah, it's already constructed in the Saudi Arabia. If anyone in this live, if you want to go, it's already constructed. Please feel free to visit this wonderful project. And the third thing I want to mention, this is one of the national legacy project in Saudi Vision 2030. It's one of the giga projects in Saudi. That is called Diriyah Gate. This project is already implemented in half of the area, but it's not only a single project; it's urban design. So you can see this pattern. It's a cluster patterns. What we did, uh, we already for taking out from Salmani architectures, like they already follow some traditional patterns. They have some architectures who have a passive design structures in arid region, but especially in the harsh climate. How they constructed, it's very wonderful. We are not gonna change anything. We are integrated with new technologies and making this, we are just replicated their culture with the new technology. That is the more important challenge we faced. You can see this Najdi pattern. They are using 80 percentage of primary colors for this design. If you are going anywhere in the desert, you can see these kind of colors, it's applicable. And they are using some earthen architectures, like some mud plaster, rammed earth, white line plasters. We are using for that the particular project. And you can see some of the like design elements we fixed. It's not for the aesthetic purpose, it's for more passive design strategies. Because when we make the design, we are fully understand how that entire district will come, uh, because thousands of stakeholders will involve in this project. Only the possible way to make it happen is a digital workflows. We already set it like uh, how the like we are not going to change anything in this like a traditional architectures. We are only just integrated with the new modern technologies inside. So what are the design strategies we can use it for this particular project, and what is the materials will be more sustainable for the long run. So these are the things aspects are considered in this project. So one of the lessons I learned from the Derya, like a traditional method they used for this particular project is, if you are going to that, if you are see the design, everything in the cluster design, it's like a narrow passage. Will use it for each and every building, because in the climate, if you are in the desert, every time like a sandstorm will come, so you have to protect that entire buildings in that from the sandstorm. So they are making a design like a very narrow, and it's called a venturi effect. So that passive, you are making like a narrow passage, it will be reduce the wind flow. And that if you are seeing in that area, like wind catcher, and some towers will be there, so it will be acting as a uh, like a thermal lag. Because each and every area in these buildings, like we are using a thick wall, like it's around like a 40 to 75 centimeter will be there. So these kind of thick walls acting as a passive cooling strategies, because in the desert, in the daytime, it will be really harsh. So when you are making, if you are staying inside, that it will affect our body as well. So when we make a thick walls inside that, in the building, it will creating as a passive cooling strategies. But in the night time, the desert will be acting as a more cool. So that is why it's conducting a thermal insulations inside. It's making little bit warm in the night time as well. So these are the strategies we applied in the Dirya Gate. And like how we are integrated these things to make it this project as a uh, better outcome. Like first we focus on the cluster pattern. The second things, we usually not using some aesthetic purpose, we are using mud plasters, rammed earth, to make it more sustainable. And the third things, like a cultural significance, whatever the patterns they are using, we applied the same patterns for all area. And the fourth things is a cultural significance, like whatever they are using that pattern in the previous era, we follow the same patterns in here. And you can see the parapets, the roof terrace, everything we used for the rainwater harvesting, because in the desert climate, the water will be a biggest issues for this climate. So that is why we consider, when we make the design, we are fully focusing on the rainwater harvesting and solar exposure, how we can utilize those things. And the techniques, like what are the techniques we are embedded into this project, it's more good to make a building very cooling and acting as a heating insulation for most of the winter time as well. So this is the vision turn into the reality. We are not change anything in this project. We are just using our BIM workflow to make it where it will need. Like where is the what material we have to use, how it will use, and where it will be suited. So we just identified earlier when we are using these strategies before the construction. When we started to make this construction, we don't feel like these projects will be more complexity. It's more easy to make it, and it's create a better impact in this region as well. So here we are. We end up with uh, like a big quote, like future is not built with the steel and glass, but with clarity and data. Because without data and clarity, uh, you can't run the building for the long run. Because only if you are hand over to the clients until your work is not done. So if you have a better data and clarity to give it to the people, then only it will be possible for the operation and maintenance. Because these are the projects, it's not only a short term vision, it's like a traditional and cultural. Moreover, these projects are like one of the identity in this region. So it's going more beyond for the next generation. So if you have a proper data and clarity, it will use our make our vision turn into the reality. So thank you so much for this wonderful like a webinar, Udit. So do you have any questions for anyone? Feel free to ask me, so I can yeah, I can help with that.
Thank you very much, Nifras. That was very, very insightful. Um, really appreciated how you connected the idea of vision and execution, which very often get looked at as two separate silos, unfortunately. And so I think in your presentation, you were able to show how exactly does one link these two. The way integrated digital delivery your facade coordination, and also the vernacular intelligence, which comes from generations of experience, knowledge, and of living in a particular place, and how all of these come together to be part of a larger sustainability framework. I think that was very nice to see in your presentation. What stood out very strongly for me is that in desert regions, success isn't just about being bold architecture, but it's also about the precision, the coordination, and the long term performance. I think that
Yes.
really made a big difference between what is typically done and how these large successful projects have been able to define themselves. And your examples also very clearly demonstrated that digital workflows can protect the design intent while also improving the efficiency and the constructability of the project. So these were my kind of major points that kind of stood out for me very strongly. I'm sure that there will be other aspects to the project also that come up as we go into our question and answer segment and
Yeah.
unpack some of these ideas a little bit more.
Yeah. Sure.
So, um, with that, I think shall we move to the questions?
Yeah. Sure. Cool.
All right. So, number one is your presentation opens up with the idea of vision to reality, and in arid region projects, where do you most often see design intent getting diluted during execution, or when things end up changing even though the design is different. um, so, and why does that happen? Why is it that these kind of challenges make the vision change when you get into construction?
Actually, it's a very interesting question because every time, like when I was working in these projects, particularly for cultural mega projects, uh, you have to focus on the three things comes under down. If it's not meet that requirement, you more communication gap and it will automatically getting diluted. The first part is the translation because when you are whatever the design you are making out of it, like you have some iconic visions, sustainable narratives, everything will be there. You have to translate it into that next stages, like a constructible stages. If you are not translating properly, it will automatically get it diluted. So you feel like it's like a little misinterpretations can lead into a major performance issues later on. So that the first thing is a translation. The second thing is a timing. As we earlier mentioned, like sustainable narratives, like when you are making, you have to start from the early. You can't be adding later on. It's not add-ons. It's like a foundation of every project. So that is the second thing, and the last most important thing is the communication, because when you are making these kind of big projects, there are a lot of like a maximum like in each projects 100 peoples will involved, sometimes more 1,000 peoples also involved in every projects. So when you are making like a design intent, it should be communicated with the peoples over digital deliveries. If it's not there, they have some huge communication, it can be diluted in the end of the movement. So that is the three things you have to consider when you are making big projects in the especially the arid regions.
Right, right. Understood. So these are the ways typically where we see dilution, where we see either through miscommunication or through misinterpretation. These are places where, especially with large numbers, large teams, uh, translation into different languages, these are aspects where things can fall through the cracks. Okay,
Exactly.
moving on to the next question. In desert climates like the UAE and Saudi Arabia, which environmental constraint tends to shape early design decisions the most? Is it heat or solar gain, dust? or long-term material durability and strength? Which are the main constraints which one takes as the highest priority while working in desert climates?
Uh, I can't demonstrate with the one factor because we need to consider when we make these things, like especially that yearly design, we need to consider the three factors, like what you mentioned in that solar heat and like sand and dust and material efficiency. Because
Hmm.
when I come to a priority wise, the solar and heat drain, when you are making early design, you have to identify how the orientation will be and the shading purposes. You have to identify those things are early. And the second thing is one of the like a big thing is sand and dust, because especially in Saudi Arabia, it's very harsh. So it will affect our facade, and even the material will be the surface have erosion will happen over the year. So you have to consider the material performance, how it will be, and what are the things we have to do. You can identify those things are early. And the last is the silent killer. It's like a material decay, because when you are making any materials, sometimes what happen, it might be success in the Europe, but it can be failure in here, because those materials are we are just only not focus on aesthetic purpose. This material, how it will be working for a long run, when it will be especially the harsh climates, like uh, sometimes what happen, you already fixing some like a facade strategies, but it will not work. So you have to set the tolerance, everything. When you are doing as a digital coordination, you can identify those things are early. It will rectify the issues, so you can avoid major issues on things are later on.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Right, right, right. So a lot of plug and play from different parts of the world have also been tried over here, without necessarily taking into account the local constraints like the temperatures and heat. So you're seeing that these are things that very often can make or break the project in the early stage.
Exactly.
Um, Right. So, okay, okay, that's interesting to know. And I'm sure while on one hand we are looking more and more to cold climates for designers and architects, I think it's important to also understand the value of having designers from places that have similar temperatures and heat constraints, or similar solar radiation, to
Yes,
kind of evolve projects and designs that are actually suited for the climate here. All
exactly.
right. Moving to my next question. You worked on cultural and civic buildings at a very large scale. How
Yeah.
do sustainability priorities, how do they differ between the iconic cultural projects compared to more commercial developments in this kind of hot and arid region?
Okay. I think one of the major interesting part is a cultural project, especially in the region, uh, because commercial buildings are only focusing on operational efficiency and energy simulations and cost delivery. But if you are comparing to cultural mega projects, they are like identity based. So it's not like a short term asset, it's like a generational legacy. So when you are making the building, uh, the sustainability, it's giving you a more warmth. If you are feeling like inside the space, you will get more warmth and feeling comfortable. So that is why when you are making these kind of big project, sustainability is more beyond that energy metric, because in that these projects, they will not only focusing on uh, like a cost and maintenance purpose. It's they are focusing when we started to make how the material will be coming in a very long run, and how we are making some passive design strategies we can input in that particular projects. So those are the aspect when you are looking, especially the cultural mega projects, when you are started to make, you have to consider these aspects are.
Right. All right. Okay, now my next few questions are going to be about integrated digital delivery and BIM. So you spoke about integrated digital delivery rather than BIM as a standalone tool. And from your experience, what fundamentally changes when teams truly adopt the IDD?
Okay. I think it's. I feel like the peoples are like they are thinking like a wrong way. Like BIM and IDD is same, but it's a fundamentally a different, because if you are seeing like a BIM coordination, it's like a reactive, because what happened if you are combined together as a one model, all the stakeholders will be involved and make a class detect and identify that all the clashes, make the give some resolution, resolved everything. It's just uh, only for the coordination purpose, but IDD is totally a different, because when you are making that like a one big project, you have to focus on the vision, design narratives, even the sustainability side also you have to focus with collaborating with the architects, engineers. So those things are, you have to fix it as a yearly. If that alignment will be little bit problem, it will affect entire timeline. So that is why IDD will be helping to that. It's throughout with the data, because you can't make it like in the paper will not work. But if you are integrated with the digital delivery, like whatever the model based, more than document based system, the model based system you have to integrate with your data, it will coming to the very long run. So peoples will be identified, okay, these are the things you have to do, and this is our scope, and they can identify their scope as well. So I hope that digital delivery, especially the IDD, is the only not only for there is no comparison between the BIM and IDD. The IDD is more beyond that than BIM coordinations, because it's proactive. It's not a reactive.
All right. So that helps us understand the clear difference, core differences between them. Now, next, I want to ask you at which project stage does BIM create the greatest sustainability impact? Is it early concept? Is it design development? Or is it actually during construction that BIM can actually influence sustainability impact of a project?
For the simple answer, I can say it's a conceptual design, because what happens, 70 to 80 percentage of sustainability narratives we already closed in early stage, especially the conceptual stage. When we make a design, we already identified how the solar, we already make some sun solar analysis, sun path analysis, even the life cycle assessment also we already fixed everything. When you are starting as a conceptual stage, then we will consider like a CD, like a SD schematic design, and construction stage. We are focusing not only for just only for some material optimization, the thermal performance of the material. So it will be used for the construction to make it reduce the rework, and reduce the misinterpretations. So that is why. So my answer is a conceptual stage. If you are rectified everything, you will not face like a major issues in the later stages.
All right, thank you for that answer. I think it goes. So you're saying right from the beginning, right at the outset of the project, that's where we have the maximum impact. And once we move forward, things start getting locked in, and so there's very little scope to change. And a lot of the sustainability potential might very well be locked out if we're not taking in sustainability at the early stage. All right,
Yes.
moving to the next question. Can you share one example of where early digital coordination directly reduced your material waste or your material rework, or it directly improved your on-site efficiency in a hot climate project example?
Okay, okay. I will share one of the project which I worked in before. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes. So this is the project which I worked in earlier stage. Uh, this is Kidia Performing Arts Center. So what happened? Uh, we are making some clash detections. So it will reduce a lot of uh, like RFIs in the site. Like when we are executing that stage, it will reduce a lot of works. So we don't do any reworks in that construction time, so we can save a lot of money and time as well. So you can see this one, it's like before coordinations, that walls will be coming, like a slanted walls are coming into the facade, because when you are trying to put it in the construction, it will be a biggest problem. So what we'll do, we are doing with the digital workflows, with the help of digital workflows, to identify these classes earlier, to make it we are just coordinated with the other stakeholders, because these faults are belonging to the ID portion. So we are coordinate with ID peoples to cut out these walls and make it more properly aligned with this facade. So they already did it. So after the resolution, it's clear. And the second thing is the structural portion. What happened? This structural portion, you can see the lift area. This lift area, the floors are coming down. So it should be, it shouldn't be like this, because if when we making a construction, these are the issues will be not rectifiable. So we are identified these issues are early, to check with the people's, this is belonging to the structural slab. So we'll ask the structural guys to make it a little bit height. So then after the like a class detection, it's resolved. And the last the third one is this one. You can see that structural models, when we are integrate together, then we got to know the door area have one structural column is coming, like a standalone column. So when we make a door, it will be the problem. So I asked the peoples who are the responsible. They are identified. They remove these columns, and you can see that after the class detections, and they resolve the class, and you can see it's coming. There is no columns will be there, and that final one is here. They have a one passageway is there. So what the peoples are making the model with the center of the portion. So we need to create the openings in here. If we are creating a opening, it will be the problem, because the center of the walls will be there. So I coordinate with that particular people who is the responsible. So I ask them to put it little bit moving this area into like a middle of the portion, and turn into that near IDF area. So this is how that class directions will work. Not only for this is just an example, but if you are actually working in the digital workflows, you will face a lot of clashes will coming. They have some hard clashes. Sometimes it's acceptable clashes will be there. So these are the things will be useful for each and every project to identify these classes earlier. It will be reduce our work, and saving a lot of time as well in the construction stage.
All right, wonderful. So that really gave us a visual insight into how it actually happens and how we actually use those clash detections to improve the final outputs. Now moving to another question. Your slide highlighted GRC and precast facade coordination. What are the biggest constructability risks with complex facades when we're working in deserts and desert climates? And how can digital workflows actually mitigate those kinds of risks?
Okay. Uh, the GRC and precast facade, they are not only a aesthetic purpose. It's for fully focused on. It's like acting as a thermal device, because what happened, especially in like a hot desert climates, you have to fixing those like a life cycle assessment for the material. You have to see some simulations and thermal performance. You have to identify those things earlier, then it will be you can you can start to working in the construction. It will not affect, because GRC and the precast, you can make any shape of design out of it, because this is not only a sustainable building, like a sustainable material. It's acting as a whatever the shape you want, you can make it out of it. So that is why we are using a GRC and a precast facade. And moreover, if it will be in a digital workflows, you have to do some LCA assessment when you are making in that construction. You have to already find out what are the possible way you can set it up, that tolerance between that facade and secondary steel. As I earlier mentioned in the Guggenheim, what happened, if you are not set the tolerance, over the period, the material will be automatically expand, and it's create a cracking. Sometimes it's a major issues will coming in the construction site. So when you are doing these are the when you are focusing on these are the strategies to find out that giving some proper resolutions using with the digital workflows, it will be more useful when you are making into the site.
All right, all right. Fantastic. So that tells us about the facades. Now, my next question is about how do you balance your architectural expression with thermal performance when you're working on culturally significant facades where it can't be at the cost of architectural expression. So we want to make both, something very nuanced or specific, or something very beautiful and intricate to express the cultural aspect, but at the same time, thermal performance is equally to be balanced. So, how does that happen, especially in extreme climates like extreme heat? How do we make this happen?
Okay. It's a wonderful question actually, because when we making a visions in the especially the harsh climate, we are not just focusing on that aesthetic appearance, uh, because with the digital workflows, uh, it will not limit your creativity. It will help to improve that aesthetic and minimal like a thermal performance together, because when you are making that materials, you have to identify easily with the digital workflows. You can see the material thermal performance and how it will working for the long run, and that colors will be instability, how we can reduce, and what kind of material is suitable for that particular region. We can identify it with that help of digital workflows, and then we have to fix it in the uh, a site. Your visions will be automatically integrated with that thermal performance. There is no different things. It's when you are making things, it's create a bridge. The digital workflows help to create a bridge between that aesthetic and the thermal performance together. So that is why that major like a major role play will happen when you are working with the data and digital workflows, especially the cultural mega projects.
All right, thank you for that answer. Now, my last few questions are about vernacular intelligence and modern tools, and then moving to managing complexity and what lies in the future. So, My immediate next question is you referenced the Najdi architecture and passive strategies like Venturi and thermal lag effects. How can BIM and parametric tools help to reinterpret these principles in a meaningful way, not just visually, but also in a way that's practically implementable?
Okay. Uh, Especially the Natsdi project, the traditional method is already resembling that sustainability. Like they are more focused on the passive design strategies. Everything is already implemented. We are not going to make anything new, but with the help of a BIM workflow and digital, like a design technology, it's created more visible. Like where we can place it, those techniques and what is the materials will be applicable for that particular project, so we can make it more with the data you can get it more precise things in the project. For especially in the Najdi architecture in the Dirya Gate project, we identified how much width we are going to give for that every street and what is the thickness will give for the wall to make it more thermal lag effects will come. So with the help of digital workflows, the only possibilities happen because you can identify these things are early. So it will be more you can go with the very confident to make these buildings without any fear.
All right, all right. Fantastic. Now, moving to my next question, do you see a tension or a synergy between parametric design and vernacular passive design? When you're designing for desert sustainability, do both of these have some kind of a clash in terms of the actual flow or the vision? And how do are there different team members who lead these ideas? And how does that conversation go? How do we kind of merge, or is there tension or is there synergy between these two? Normally, when you're working on large buildings and their design processes.
Okay, okay, it's one of the major topic nowadays because the people's will thinking like a parametric is only for the shape, but actually a parametric is a rule based like a system. Even if you are comparing to a vernacular, that is also rule based. So what happened? The parametric tools, if you are using with the tools, you will get more data from that, and you have to apply it into the rule based, in the vernacular architecture. Also, it will be applicable because I don't think so. It's not a conflict between the vernacular and the like a parametric. It's combined together. There is no difference. So I would say it's a synergy between that vernacular and like a parametric, because when you are integrated data with that, you can create a more 100 possibility way to make our buildings more sustainable with the core concept stage. So that is why I told this is the synergy. There is no conflicts between the parametric and like a vernacular architecture. So people's will thinking is a bad the thinking as a different thing, but it's a same.
Okay, okay. All right, so that helps us to understand it that these are two facets of the same coin. We can very well make it happen together as long as both minds align and are able to understand or speak to each other. All right. Now, on large multinational projects, what are the most common coordination breakdowns that you've seen, and how does digital governance help maintain design continuity in those kinds of breakdown points?
For that cultural mega projects, it's not happen every time. Sometimes rarely most of the technical point of view it's happened because we already strong enough when we started an early stage, we already fixing those errors. So most of the times cultural mega projects, they didn't have any gap between the vision into the reality. Even what happened, uh, the main thing, uh, if you want to talk about that, what are the things will happen for the rarely, uh, the peoples who are changing every time, even for example, the contractors, suppliers, even the client team also, they are changing even over the digital delivery period. So that time they should be communicate with the peoples, and you have to create some execution plan. When you are making that project early stage, you have to give it to the peoples, what is the timeline, what kind of budget it's already there, and what is the strategies we are going to follow. So these are the things it's already sorted out. These projects like never be like a broke, like it will be going on a very smooth way. Even the peoples are changing, even that strategies are different, it won't affect because we already have some datas and clarities. So that is the things I'm seeing, like the communication gap between the peoples. Even the design intent will be translated not properly, it will get diluted.
All right. Okay. So now we come to my final question. We're just over an hour, so I think it's a good time. If you had to define the future of desert architecture in one idea, what would it be? Would it be material intelligence or data-driven decision making, or would it be cultural clarity? What are the and out of these, whichever one it is, why do you choose that over the others?
Okay, I would say cultural intelligence because if you are comparing to a material and data, it's evolving, it's changing over the years. But culture is won't change because if you have some cultural literacy between, especially the harsh climate, you have to understand the knowledge of how the culture will be, what is the tradition, how the climate is working in that particular region, and what kind of technology will be suitable for this particular region. Then only it will like make our vision into the reality. So I would strongly suggest the cultural literacy, it's like a must for everyone. So the peoples will be understand, once they will know about the culture, then only the possibility for the data driven whatever it is, then only it will be applicable.
Okay, all right. Okay, so with that, I think we come to the end of our questions. I'm going to just quickly check if we have any audience questions coming in. And if you do, then we can maybe field one or two of those questions.
Sure.
Okay, let me just take a look. All right, so I think at the moment we don't have any questions coming in from the audience, but I'm sure in some time. Okay, we do have a question. Uh, do you see BIM evolving from a coordination tool to a decision making and policy alignment platform?
uh, I think this question is a good actually, because BIM is not only for coordination tool when we are discussing early, it's like a decision making tools in the future. Because if you have a proper data, you can use it for operational and maintenance purpose as well. Because in the traditional method, if you are comparing, once you will hand over to the client, your relationship with the client will be done. But if you are using with the digital tools, especially the BIM workflows, you have a proper data for the asset management. You can give it to the owners. The peoples will be the owner will take over, and it will be going for end of the building life cycle. So I think yes, it's true. We can use it as a evidence based, and we can use it for the future as well.
All right. Definitely something that can be integrated, definitely can be used for policy. Okay, so with that, I think we don't have any more audience questions for now. But as and when we do have more questions, I'm sure they're going to come up on LinkedIn, and
Sure,
we will, update you, and you can field those questions as we go ahead.
sure.
All right. So with that, Nifras, thank you once again for such a thoughtful and technically rich session. What you shared today was a powerful reminder that sustainability in desert regions isn't just about the material or the form. It's about integration, coordination, and a very disciplined kind of delivery. The way you connected digital workflows and facade systems and even vernacular intelligence, it really highlighted how vision can be protected all the way from concept to execution. And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for your time and your engagement. These conversations continue to push us to think beyond the isolated design decisions and truly towards integrated climate responsive development. So we look forward to seeing you all in the next episode of Designing for the Desert. Until then, stay curious, stay climate conscious, and keep designing with purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Udit. And thank you so much, guys, for the wonderful webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.